Welcome back to Thumbfuckers and the continuation of my bitching because it will never end. It
Nope.
will never cease.
Bitch Fest 2017.
3 days straight. 3 days straight. So,
Longer than Woodstock.
how long was Woodstock? I thought that
I
was
want
like
to
a week.
say yeah. I was about to say 7.
I was pretty sure it was a week.
I think it's 7.
Didn't Perfect go to that?
Probably.
I, I think so.
He was a hippie.
Yeah.
One time he showed the class how to make a bong.
Really?
It was well.
I
It
should
was
probably be doing shit while we're talking about this. Go ahead.
it was like a wood crafting project someone brought in because of the class before, and
Because it was Bong Day.
evidently, it was like a candle holder, but it was when you put it on the wall. And he was like, you could just take a tube and put it through this, and then bring it to the top. And
So he didn't actually like show them how to make a bong by itself.
he never
just
specifically.
modified.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, life hack.
Yeah, life hack. There we go.
Life hack. You can turn a bong. Well, you can turn anything to a bong.
Probably.
You can turn a bong into anything.
You can turn a bong into a bong. Of a different kind.
You can turn a bong into anything you want as long as you have enough weed.
Or meth.
Yeah, meth would be better.
Anyways, I have bitched for, what is it now, 3 episodes straight?
This would be the third.
So 2 episodes in a row about Dark Souls 3 in specific, giving background on the others just to have reference.
Yes.
I'm going to actually talk about the other ones now, so I don't fucking shit on Dark Souls 3 forever, and so you have a better understanding of why I shit on Dark Souls 3. So, my favorite is obviously Dark Souls 1. That's the first one I played. I actually found out about it by seeing a ad for Demon Souls, and at the time being sad that I couldn't play it because it was a PS3 exclusive. And at the time I was on Xbox 360 because that's what all my friends had, so I could play games with them.
Fucking conformist.
Well, it's like, I want to be able to play games with my friends, and nobody at the time had a fucking PS3, so it's like, whatever.
When I bought my PS4, none of my friends had PS4s.
I mean, I bought my PS4 with nobody to play it with, but that's because I had played on PS3 and liked PS3 better. Anyways, I saw an ad for Demon Souls, and I got really excited about it because I'm like, this sounds fucking awesome. How do I get this game? I looked it up, and I'm like, ah, fuck, it's PS3 exclusive. I can't play this. Then I realized, oh shit, there's a sequel. And it's on both platforms.
Which doesn't make sense.
Well, it actually does because Sony has a 3-game deal with From Software. So they have the exclusive rights to 3 games from them specifically. Bloodborne was the most recent one, and within the next few years they're coming out with the next one. But at the time, yes, Demon Souls was specifically Sony, and they have the rights to it. But Dark Souls, considering it was technically a new IP, was able to be on multiple platforms and eventually came to PC, everything like that. The reason I like Dark Souls 1 the most, besides it being the first one I played and the one I have the most time in, is that, in my opinion, it has the best setup of systems for invading, which is the thing that keeps me interested, because, to be honest, you can only play through the PvE of these games, like, probably generously 7 times before you're like, I'm bored of this shit. Like, it's the same thing every goddamn time.
Well, fucking obviously it's the same thing.
Well,
Play it 7
not
times.
not exactly, because in Dark Souls 2, they actually changed it up. Because in the New Game Plus mode, you beat the game and then you start over with all of your equipment and levels and everything. They actually add new enemies in different places and stuff like that. And they also add new rings, and they change up like where items are and stuff. So it actually makes the experience different each time you go through it, because you're running into new enemies, you're getting new items. It's not literally the same set of enemies in the exact same positions that will react the exact same way no matter what you do, which is an issue with Dark Souls 1, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, all of them besides 2, which was made by the From Software B team, which is why it's got all the interesting ideas that never carried over, even though the game itself is somewhat flawed. Like, execution-wise, it's not the best one, but it has the most interesting ideas to it. But Dark Souls 1 PvP is my favorite, because the way the systems are set up just seems more evenly distributed. Like, there's not such a gap in power between Invader, Host, and Phantoms as there is in some of the other games. The reason being for this is that in Dark Souls 1, the maximum number of Phantoms you could summon was 2. So at worst, it's going to be a 3-on-1. Whereas in, I do believe 2, I'm not sure about that, but I think that's correct. And I know for a fact in 3, you can summon up to 3 people. In 2, they didn't have a password system, so to say, but you can buy a ring, and then you can set it to a specific god, and then if your friends are wearing that ring and set it to that same god, then you'll be able to see each other's summon signs and be able to summon each other. But that still has the level restriction thing with which Dark Souls 3 does not have when summoning people with a password. In Dark Souls 1, you could not summon your friends at all unless you just got lucky and saw their sign, which, yes, that kind of sucks, but whatever. Cutscene, by the way, if you want to watch.
Ooh. Scarecrow's going at it.
These are the Abyss Watchers.
Yeah, you like that being penetrated into your body, you little bitch?
They're basically clones of each other, and they're murdering each other. Also, look at their pointy hats.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks.
Meeseeks.
Meeseeks. You're not even a fan of Rick and Morty.
I like it, I just don't watch it because I don't watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
But, in Dark Souls 1, Poise was the best it's ever been, my opinion. Obviously, other people disagree, but the way it's the most logical in 1, because that set of armor I was telling you about, that in this game, if you're not using a big weapon, you'll just get slapped around by a dagger. The armor set that's literally like the side of a mountain. In Dark Souls 1, if you're wearing that set of armor, there's almost nothing that will stagger you out of an attack. Like, you have to get hit twice or 3 times in a row by a great axe just to get flinched. And that makes sense, because, you're wearing the fucking side of a mountain. But, on top of that, Phantoms could not heal at all. Ah, fuck.
Whoa.
Yeah, that guy spawns and starts attacking the other ones. But, like I said, we're really low on HP. Phantoms can't heal at all in Dark Souls 1. Like, you can't use Estus or anything like that. You can use a Humanity, but that's likely to get you smacked, which Invaders can do too, but there's no Estus healing. And I don't think healing miracles actually spread to other players in Dark Souls 1, so you can't have one guy playing healer just backing off, having their friends run to him while he casts a heal, and then just full heal them while you're trying to chase him down and do damage, which is a thing in the next 2 games. But, for one thing, like, I feel like the weapon variety and, like, the uniqueness of the weapons was better in 1, because, like, pretty much every boss had a soul, and you could make a weapon out of that soul, and it's usually, like, really weird or unique, or has, like, specific things to it that others don't. Like, the Moonlight Butterfly. It's considered one of the easier bosses, because literally all you have to do is dodge for a little bit, and then it'll land and you smack it, and then just repeat. You can make 2 things out of its soul. You can either make a shield that has a ring projectile that you can throw, which is really cool and, like, visually appealing and stuff like that. Or you can make a spear that I believe does pure magic damage, so it's good for an int build, and also has the longest reach of all the spear class weapons in the game, which is a nice bonus, because you're not going to be doing quite as much damage, but you'll be able to do the damage from further away. Then there's the fact of tail cut weapons, which is a mechanic I really, really wish they would have brought back, because it's one of the things I absolutely loved about Dark Souls 1, because any boss, or I think there's even some enemies, but like any boss that has like a big tail, like a big obvious tail, usually they're able to like attack with it, you can cut that off and you'll get a unique weapon out of it. And that's like so fucking cool to me because there's 4 dragon weapons that you get by cutting the tails off of specific dragons. You get the...
Wait, I just love the mountains of dead bodies.
Yeah. The story here is like, these fuckers, they're the Abyss Watchers, obviously. They're trying to stop the spread of the Abyss, which they're blocking right here. But because they're so close to the Abyss, they're becoming corrupted by it. So they're killing each other because they're getting corrupted by the Abyss. And now he's absorbing the souls of all the other dead ones to become more powerful. And now all of his shit's on fire.
Sweet.
But, like, there's the Drake Sword, which you get from the Hellkite Drake, which is, like, the first dragon you see in the game, and it's a real pain in the ass if you don't know how to avoid it, because there's a bridge that you have to go on to progress further into, like, one of the first areas, and the Drake will actually swoop down and breathe fire across the bridge and more than likely kill you. And that's always like a really scary situation for new players because like, holy shit, a dragon just came out of nowhere and fucking breathed fiery death down upon me. But there's 2 ways you can get his tail. You can either go underneath the bridge that he's guarding and you'll be able to see his tail and you can shoot at it with a bow, and if you do enough damage it'll come off and you get the sword. Or you can go up on the bridge and trick him into jumping down, and then you can run behind him, and while he's breathing fire, you can, I'm probably gonna die here. Yep. While he's breathing fire, you can run up and just beat the shit out of his tail and cut it off, and then you get the sword. And that's considered like the noob carry weapon because it just does a flat 200 damage, which will kill most basic enemies in like 1 hit. And it also, I think all of the tailcut weapons have special effects. So for the Drake Sword, it's the same as the Dragon Greatsword, which you get later on, just a smaller effect. You raise it up above your head and slam it down, and then like a little like shockwave shoots out in front of it. And then there's the Dragon Great Axe, which you get from the Gaping Dragon by cutting off his tail. Yes.
Gaping dragon.
It's literally a dragon that's like entire torso from like basically its chin down to its crack. It's just open wide, teeth sticking everywhere. It's a giant mouth. The story behind that being that it was just like so voraciously hungry, like so insatiably hungry that it just deformed into this giant mouth monster. But you get the...
You have to start over.
Yeah. That's kind of the thing that sucks with these fights is if you die, you go back to stage 1.
Even though he technically died.
Yeah. Well, he died, but he came back to life. The other ones, they don't have an excuse, but... Yeah, we don't really have the health to be dealing with this. But we're gonna try anyway. But the Dragon Great Axe is one of the favored ones, because its special move, you hold it over your head and then slam it down, and it makes like a big shockwave in a circle around you, and it can also flatten people. So it like knocks them down on the ground and like squishes them.
Heal, bitch, heal.
I gotta get safe.
Get safe, heal.
The red man is here to help us. Or get fucked up, one or the other. Bosses.
I'm here to help. Dead.
Well, he will attack you if you get too close, or if he doesn't have an aggro on the other ones first, but he will attack either of them. But then there's what's the other one? There's the Dragon Greatsword, and what's the other one? Fuck, I can't remember. I don't know. But there's another one that's off of Seath, which is one of the Lord Soul bosses, and that's the Moonlight Greatsword, which has actually been in basically every FromSoft game, even the non-Souls ones. It originated in like their first series, which was Kingsfield, back on like the fucking... what's it called? That like really old computer system? Commodore. I think it's on Commodore. But that originated back then, and then they put in their Armored Core games, which are like mech fighting games. Then it showed up in Demon Souls, and then it's been in the Dark Souls games, And it actually even showed up in Bloodborne, which is weird, but it's just like a meme at this point, like it's in every game. But in Dark Souls 1, you got that by cutting off the back tentacle of Seath the Scaleless, and its special attack shot out like little energy beams in like a crescent shape. And you could do one vertically or horizontally, depending on if you were one-handing or two-handing. And I always loved fighting people who were using that because they didn't realize that that attack is parryable. So they think like, oh, this person's running right up in my face, I'm gonna do this attack, get a bunch of free damage, and then I parry it, and then they're like, what the fuck just happened? And then they shit themselves. Who else had? I'm trying to remember other tail cuts, but one of my favorite boss weapons was from Quelaag, who is a naked lady attached to a giant demon spider that spits lava.
Excellent.
Yes. There's story behind that, but I'm trying not to rant too much about Dark Souls 1 because I could literally go on for fucking ever. But basically, PvP in Dark Souls 1 I feel like was the most balanced because poise made sense and actually existed in a meaningful